morning, guys. So today we're going to start our last week's lesson for Bible. I know that there's 2 weeks of school technically left that we're learning, but this is the last one simply because um, we're it's kind of makes a good stopping point because the next group of lessons are a part of a unit and they go together. And unfortunately, we will not have enough time to finish all those. So I don't want to go ahead and get started to kind of not let you guys finish, but you can if you want to. For fun, you can go through and you can finish that on your own and help it guide you. But today we're going to be on lesson 28. Okay, starting lesson 28, and we're talking about courage to stand alone. There's many examples of great courage in the Bible. Um, so let's look at what courage means. What it means to be courageous. To be a courageous person is a person that has courage. But what does even courage mean? It means to be brave or fearless. To be brave or fearless. To be a courageous person, a person with courage. All right. And then your second vocabulary word is petition. And petition is it's a sincere request. So if you're putting out a petition for something, you're requesting something. You're very serious in inquiring that. Okay, so those are your two vocabulary words for this week. And do make sure you get those down because they will be on the test. And this will be your last Bible test on Friday. So make sure you are getting these done because you want to end out with a good grade, okay? All right. So it says what a person is on the inside is the most important thing. And notice I underline that because that is very, very important. Who we are in the inside is more important than who we are on the outside. And sometimes we forget that. And I know I did a chapel lesson on that not too long ago. We spend so much time focused on what we look on the outside, but how much time do we actually spend on what we look like on the inside? Okay, I know the last couple of weeks I haven't been working a whole lot on the outside. That is for sure. Um, so, sincerity, honesty, unselfishness, intelligence, the spirit of cooperation and justice, cheerfulness, courtesy, um, consideration, and all of those things, those are what matters. And those are what make you a good character. What one is, that is your character. Who you are is your character. Nothing else helps you stand the test of time with all the dangers and problems like strong character. There's nothing more important to us. This should be more important to us than, well, first of all, God's number one. But when we talk about ourselves, the number one thing that we should be focused on is our insides. Okay. Not that we shouldn't spend some time on the outside to make us feel good about ourselves. Okay. God does want us to feel good about ourselves and take care of our outer appearance as well. But what's more important and what He wants you to spend most of your time on is the inside, being a good, genuine person. And to do that, you are following Christ, right? And you're having all these characteristics that were mentioned. All right. So it says making right choices. Making right choices is part of standing alone because in life, our parents are not always going to be there to make our choices for us. We have to be able to make our own choices in life as well, right? Now, our parents help guide us and they want to direct us into making the right choices, but we ultimately have to, in the end, make our own choices. So many times we just we like to go with the crowd, right? Or do what our friends are doing because we think, well, I don't want to be made fun of, or I just want to do it because it looks fun, right? I want to be like everybody else. Okay, we have a bad habit of that as humans in general. But God wants us to grow up and think before we act, not just follow the crowd. Think before you act. And I'm sure you've heard your parents tell you that before several times. So I'm going to underline that as well because that's important. God wants us to grow up and think before we act. Is what I'm about to do a good choice? Okay. Does it hurt anybody? Does it hurt me? Is it a good choice? Is it what God wants me to do? Would this make God happy? All right, it's in the portion below. It says, write the portion of each verse below that teaches the principle stated with each. So these are some kind of lessons that we can learn from the Bible. And the first one says, life's most important choice is whom we will serve. In Joshua, okay, and I had these verses, I had copied and I pasted them on a Word document so they're easy to find. In Joshua 24:15 it says, and if it seem evil unto you to serve the Lord, choose you this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your father served that were on the other side of the flood, or the gods of the Amorites, in which land ye dwell. But sorry, I'm about to sneeze. But as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. So I'm going to pause real quick. All right, sorry. Still working up on that sneeze. It says, but as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. So which part tells you who to serve? Well, that last part. We're at the end where it says, but as for me and my house, I serve the Lord. So that's what I'm going to write there. Okay, and my answer key just says, as your translations. But I'm going to put, as for me and my house, we serve, and you'll have more space because I have that kind of in my way, but don't write that. I guess I'm just gonna write it down here. Okay, so again, you will not be writing this. That's just my answer key telling me it's going to look something like that. All right, it says, so what tells me who I need to choose to serve? Well, as for me and my house, we choose to serve the Lord. I know that at Hobby Lobby, there are a lot of signs that you could buy and paintings you could buy for your house that have that verse on it, that part of the verse on there, because that is so important. Your household, you should choose to serve the Lord. All right, the next one, it says someone has to guide us in our choices. Okay, so who is that person that's guiding us? And that's in Proverbs 16:9, and it says, in their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps. So who guides us? It says, but the Lord establishes their steps. So I'm going to put that. The Lord establishes their steps. I'm writing kind of big so hopefully you guys can see that. All right, so who's guiding us? The Lord is. So we can plan our course, but ultimately, the Lord is going to establish our steps, and we need to look to Him for guidance. Okay, that's where our wisdom is going to come from. All right, and then the next one, we're going to be on Proverbs 21:1. And let me get that over here as well. My computer clicked off. There it is. All right. It says, a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches and loving favor rather than silver and gold. So the question again says, having a good name is a result of making right choices. So a good name is rather to be chosen than great riches. And that's not talking about necessarily, when we say name, it's not necessarily talking about like, my name is Miss Whaley, Mrs. Whaley, or your name is Micaiah, or Kinsley, Elizabeth, whatever your name is. It's not talking about that. Not that those are not good names, because they are, but it's talking about having a good name for yourself, right? So what are you going to be known as? Are you going to be known as that person who when they look at you, you immediately think, that's the person that always complains. That's the person that's always cheerful. Which one would you rather be? The person who's always cheerful? The person who always complains? Okay, what name are you going to have for yourself? What are you going to be known as? Okay, a good name is rather to be chosen. And it says to be chosen because you choose how people are going to look at you, right? As far as that goes. If you always complain if every time somebody's around you and you always complain, you chose that. You chose to be known as the person that complains because you chose to do that. Or if you're going to be that person that's always cheerful, you chose to be known for that, right? Then great riches. So are you going to be known for the person that has a lot of money? Or are you going to be known for the person who's just genuinely a good person? What are you going to be known for? All right. And I told y'all before, in high school, I was voted who's. And those are just kind of what people kind of know you for, as kind of goes with your personality. I was voted most dependable. People thought that they could just depend on me. And I thought that was a good thing, a name to have for yourself, or a good thing to be known for. Maybe not at the time. At the time, it sounded boring. But now, now I think it's a great thing to be known for. All right. And then the last one is in the book of Matthew chapter 12, verse 30. And it says, some people choose not to follow Jesus Christ. Can you believe that? That's probably the most unintelligent thing that you can do, is to choose to not follow Jesus Christ. You have all the love there. You have all the forgiveness and the love and guidance that you could possibly have, and you choose to turn that away. Crazy. All right, it says, Matthew 12:30 says, whoever is not with me is against me, and whoever does not gather with me scatters. Isn't that sad? So sad. So some people choose not to follow me. Well, it says whoever is not with me is against me. Okay, so that's what I'm gonna write. And then who does not gather with me will scatter. So I'm gonna put whoever is not with me is against me. And again, it's just the craziest thing for me when somebody chooses to go against God, because you have this unconditional love at your fingertips, and you have all this wisdom and guidance that you can possibly have, and all this happiness and inner joy. Because there's a difference between just being really happy every now and then and just being a true joyful person. And when you have Jesus in your heart, you have this overwhelming amount of joy. And therefore you can overcome anything that's thrown your way, because you have Jesus. So for you not to follow that, for you not to use that resource is mind-blowing to me, that some people would choose not to. All right, and then your last one is actually on the next page. It's actually on page 118, but you're going to do this one on your own. It says, look at all these principles that we just wrote down and verses again, and explain how you can make sure that you are making the right choices for your own life. So what can you be doing to make sure that you're following and making sure that these are happening in your life? Okay, so you do that one on your own. You've got this. Okay, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.